right, what's up, YouTube? What is up, everybody? Jersey heads worldwide. It is your guy Rez back again, once again, with another edition of. I don't have a name for this segment just yet. I will come up with one very soon, guys, but bear with me. Today we have a very special guest. We got BYG Byg Slymm in the building. What's good, brother?
What's up, Rez? How you doing, brother?
Chilling, man, chilling. It is a Saturday. I am filming this. We are filming this on a Saturday, but nonetheless, it is a weekend, so we got time to kick back, relax, chill, talk about jerseys and life in general, man. So, usually how this thing starts, I pretty much start off by having the guests just say a little bit about themselves, where they're from, what they're repping, and what got them into what they're all about, basically.
Do we have enough time? which we've already talked about briefly before we went live. Yeah.
For the audience that's watching this video right here, just tell us where you're from and what you collect and what you're about, man.
Well, originally from I was born in Xenia, Ohio, which is out. It's pretty close to Dayton. A lot of people know Dayton. A lot of people might not even know what Fairborn is. That's where I kind of grew up before I moved to Maryland. Fairborn is actually made up of two cities from 1950, made up of two cities, Fairfield and Osborne. Ironically, the only city in the world that is named Fairborn. And also an ironic, Brian Billick, who is the former Ravens coach, is actually from there as well. So a little tidbit there about my little hometown city there. When I moved to Maryland, long story short, I was still kind of probably in the Transformer game. I'll be 45 in June, so I'm showing my age as well as my beard. And
gang.
Yeah, so when He-Man dropped in 1983 and G1 Transformers dropped in 84, you couldn't tell me nothing. I would stand there with my book bag on my back and watch, because my school was right across the street, so I never had to ride the bus. So I would stand there, and as soon as the Transformers credits would run, I'd turn my TV off and just bolt to class and damn near be late every day. To make sure, even if it was an episode I'd never seen. So as far as the sports end of it, when I moved to Maryland in 1987, I was turning 11. And when I got here, I was starting to get a little bit into video games. We had the Atari. We didn't have Nintendo, even though a lot of my friends had Nintendo. And I wasn't into the sports game yet. I still remember Christmas of 87. I still got pictures of me opening Transformers. I moved to a different spot in Maryland, and that's where I kind of set my roots at in 1988. All of my friends in that neighborhood all were rocking shirts and jerseys, and the shirts were like those big head, like Charles Barkley, and it would show him duck with this itty bitty body, like those shirts. Like Mitchell and Ness has kind of dabbled into that in the retro shirts, and I remember just being, and then of course you just become a product of your environment. So Transformers were no longer cool. They were actually off the air anyways in '87, at least here in Japan. They continued in Japan, but we didn't see that. And so, jerseys and Jordans and shoes. And I always tell people that it was that when you moved to this neighborhood, you either like Michael or the Redskins. And ironically, the Redskins were in the Super Bowl that year against Denver. So, so that was kind of that was a big deal for local fans here. Still crying over losing the Colts, when the Colts left in '84. So I became a Michael fan. Parents just don't understand. Will Smith, he said it. That song was big in '88, dog, and that Will's my guy. So right. That song says it all. I did everything I could to try to fit in. My dad wasn't buying that kind of stuff for me, because that stuff was still kind of expensive. Jordans was still probably $100 back then, like in them days, and you figure 88, what's that? The fours and the fives, 88, 89, 90. Those are the ones I fell in love with. The fours were my first love. And then the five, that run all the way up until probably 96, I was really in love with most of the ones. So it got to the point where I would do anything I could to try to wear stuff. So if they got new shirts, I'd be like, hey, well, what are you doing with the old one? Can I get the old one? I remember my friend Keith, he gave me a Dominique Wilkins. Couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I was king shit. I thought I was, and then when they would get new shoes and they would be done with their shoes. And like, I would ask to borrow, like, I remember the Hexalite black top Reebok pumps. I wore a size 12. This dude, Chris, rest in peace, he passed away. He would bring the shoes to class with him in a duffel bag and let me borrow them. They were 10 and a half, and I put them on my big ass. I put them on my 12. I wore 12. So, and then my friend John, who I'm still friends with to this day, he had Reggie White and Randall Cunningham. If he wasn't rocking them, I'd be sitting in the hallway, and, expecting him to bring Reggie to class for me to wear. And he would bring Reggie as champion with no nameplate, but the heat press and everything.
Right.
And, and this is how desperate I wanted to get into the game, that I would ask people to borrow their clothes. I think that's where a lot of my, obsessive compulsive, especially with buying, because when I see something that I want now, I remember the feeling of not being able to have what I wanted. I wasn't asking my dad for Jordans. I wasn't asking my dad for none of that. It was Kmart shoes and you got what he was buying. You know, it was his money. And you know, I remember going to school and getting made fun of for my shoes. I had a pair of plastic glued together. They were called Top Guns, and they were sold at Kmart. My dad got me two different colors of them. They were both white. One had gray. One had blue in them. And I remember going to school just ready to get it. And I remember the first day of school, my friend Alan, you know, Peanut, you know, he looked down at my shoes. He wore Nikes. His dad bought him his Nikes and all that. And he didn't, you know, and of course, most people that had Nikes back then, they just expected to get Nikes, so they didn't take care of them. And which used to irritate the hell out of me. You know, it's just, you know, because I'm like, man, if I had those, they'd be white all the time, or they'd be fresh all the time. And I remember the feeling of walking down the hallway and him looking at the side of my shoe and seeing the name Top Gun, and then putting his arms out like he was an airplane, going meow, like he was shooting at me, meow, like a plane from the 40s or 30s or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I remember that horrible feeling. And then another friend of mine, Jeff, who's actually on my friends list, and we're cool to this day. I remember the next pair of shoes that I got, they were Voights. I don't know if you remember the name Voight. They made basketball, right? They made basketballs, like they made rubber basketballs and stuff like that. And I remember being on a field trip with. I remember sitting on the bus and putting one foot out in the aisleway, you know, your arms up on the back of the seat, you know, to be cool. And he looks down at my shoe, and I said, "Oh shit!" He looks down at my shoe and he goes, "What's that say? Volt?" And I was like, "Voight. They make basketballs." Like I'm trying to defend the shoe. And needless to say, my first pair of Pumas, I was just happy to have a shoe that was actually sewn together. And you know, you couldn't tell me nothing when I got Pumas. And then I got a pair of Nike Force. I still remember the day I got them. I remember all the clothes that I bought. Like this is how much of a big deal it was to me. I remember all the clothes I got that day. I finally got an Eagles shirt to go with my green, solid green, Kelly green Eagle scripted hat that had the NFL logo on the side.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Real quick, because I know you're rocking the Warriors joint. Salute to you for, you know, rocking the mully and the script, you know, the script hat. But what's the team? Oh, I love that jersey, man. But what's the teams that you rep, man?
To this day, I mean, honestly, like I get the LeBron people now. It's funny, the people that follow LeBron, and you know, and when they jump ship on Cleveland to go to Miami. I didn't realize that I was just a Michael fan until he stopped playing for the Bulls. Then I was like, well, I'm not a Bulls fan. I don't care what happens to the Bulls now that they're gone. They were still relevant in '94 when Michael retired to play baseball, but man, I mean, the team imploded when Michael retired in '98. I mean, they went from, you know, the championship to, what were they, a 13-win team or something crazy? In '99, they were bad. So I realized quick that I was only a Michael fan. So I mean, you know, I'm a fan of basketball. So if, like, maybe not so much to this day, but if there was like a good storyline running, like, you know, if two teams made the finals, and I would pay attention to that point, like when the Warriors got to the finals for the first time and they were playing against LeBron, and
Right.
you know, and that run that they made, and I thought it was crazy. You know, Warriors were up 3-1, and they lost. They ended up losing that series to. I was at B-Dubs watching it, eating some wings when Kyrie hit that jumper.
Oh man.
And I was like, damn! I was like, they pulled it off. I mean, as far as like sports today, it's not. I don't really follow, like I missed the draft. Like I was getting updates from Mighty Fan,
Mm.
you know, who's also a big Eagles fan. I'm an Eagles fan, so like my passion really now is just like, when I say passion, I mean like yell and scream and throw stuff at the TV passion. You know, when your team's winning and losing, you know, it's probably just the Eagles. But from a jersey aspect, I love all jerseys. Like you just, you know, this is my favorite. This is my favorite Warriors. You know, probably because I come from that era. You know, this is, you know, the Warriors scripted, you know, this is a Mitchell Ness fitted, but, you know, as you know, with the 49ers on your head there, you know, Sports Specialties made these originally back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And just always been a big fan. As soon as Mitchell Ness started dropping them, I was like, oh, gotta get my hands on. I don't get snapbacks. My head's too big. I wear a fitted 7 7/8 on a good day. But I like all sports. Like if something good's on, like I'll go to a game. I'm in Baltimore, so I would go to Oriole Park. Shout out to point forwards Alex. I'm not sure if he'll watch this, but the last game I went to with him was ironically on Jackie Day, and we watched them play. We watched them play the Devil Rays, and Evan Longoria hit a foul ball. It went straight up in the air, and I'm like, dude, that's going to be close. It bounced off the crowd that was trying to get it. It went right across my face, hit my elbow, hit Alex, and the guy behind him caught the ball. No, and nobody was hurt. And I actually got pictures of it. I posted them, I think, in the groups of the old guy holding the ball, and he was starting to tell Bobby Thompson stories, the shot heard around the world.
I know that you're into jerseys, and you're also like into sneakers. So you're like a sneakerhead, jersey head, ish. So you kind of dabble in a little bit of everything. I'm kind of the same way. You look around me, I got a bunch of shit. Just
by the way, those fives that you just unveiled,
Oh,
Got the original. There's some of my shoes right there. See those two gray boxes?
yep.
Those are 99 first release fours and
Oh,
fives.
geez.
But actually, that Michael was wearing in the infamous stolen game jersey. Funny, I would actually see. I saw that card yesterday on Marketplace. The card, it's Sam Mitchell's Orlando Magic jersey. Somebody was trying to sell the card. I forget what card it was, but and it shows Michael trying
Mhm.
to post up and grab a rebound wearing the 12 jersey. In 2021, man, actually the
Yeah.
fours, they're the original
Yeah.
re-releases of the cement fours.
Yeah.
The fuck, because they're from '99. I bought them from Finish Line. I know I can get them repaired, but man, I was so disappointed, man. I was so sad when the sole turned into like cottage cheese.
Yeah,
It
dude.
fell apart, man. Yeah, it sucks.
All good things must come to an end, bro. Unfortunately, trust me, I've been on the back burner of some OG stuff myself. I actually have a pair of. Let's see if I can show you real quick. I don't know if you can see it
The
over
Jordan,
here.
those Jordan ones.
Yep, those are
Yeah.
1985s. So those are the OGs, man. If I put those bad boys on, dude, you're not gonna see them. They're gonna be dust. I do want to talk about the whole YouTube thing because basically you have a YouTube channel. I actually found
Yeah.
out, about you and what you do through YouTube, but like explain to us like how did you get the name like BYG Slymm, Byg Slymm? Like where did that come about?
Well, ironically, I mean, I used to be 500 pounds. I've lost about 200 pounds.
Salute to you, by the way. You look great, bro.
I appreciate that, man. It's been a long journey to lose some weight, personal hardships, and things that I've encountered. But right around the mid 2000s, I started to gain. I was already gaining weight, and I was that guy that would still. I could go run 6, 7 games at 440 pounds and playing basketball and be and feel good and this and that, but then go ruin it all with like a Denny's run at night and go hang out and eat like a total slob and just hang out with friends and then go home and go to bed on it. Long story short, I got the name. I kind of had to come up with something quick because shout out to Throwback King. He was actually him and Mac were the first two to get me here on YouTube, especially Snacks actually was, and I tripped over Mac's videos after that. I lost sleep watching those videos, like because I was just like when Mac showed that Jordan video of all his customs and all his 45s and rookies, I was just like,
Yeah, that was
I
a
remember
beautiful
just laying
moment.
there just watching, like my eyes were burning because I needed to go to bed. Like I'd already stayed up into the next day still watching. Like so that was kind of my introduction into like your guys' Jersey community. I'm coming up on 20 years now in Snacks. That's the crazy part about it. Like because we
Wow.
we worked we did deals through eBay, and I kind of just Byg Slymm was just kind of a poke at my frame, poke at my body, and I was still probably through on the high side of 300 when I started making videos. You look at my Slim Pickens, getting grails, I called it at the time, volume one. You could just see it. Like for one, I didn't have much white in my beard yet. I mean, it's just hard to believe that video now is almost 9 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And like I was watching one of your videos the other day. It was 11 years old, and I'm like, damn. And you,
Man.
I was telling Mighty, I was like, Rez is like a whole different person than he was back then. It was like Rez was like, yo, what's up? We're Resurrection. I got these Ben Gordons. Here's a comparison. And just rocking. Dude, your old videos are tight. I like watching your old videos too. I wanted to be different. This it's funny because I'm actually kind of like I'm a fan of all music, which as you know, shout out to Shock G, man. It was tough losing
Peace,
Shock
man.
G like that, man. So I'm actually a fan of the Southern rock group Leonard Skinner,
Oh,
and a lot of people just know them for Sweet Home Alabama. And the way that they spell their name was with a bunch of Y's. So I just kind of like, well, BYG. I was like, I'll use that instead of BIG.
you have a segment of your, for yourself, your channel. You call it Slim Pickens. Where was the thought process when coming up with that?
Yeah, I originally called it Getting Grails because I picked up on a lot of the terminology that like a grail was like, a jersey that you just had to have, couldn't live without.
Sure.
And so I'm not sure how many that I actually went into, with calling my segment Getting Grails. When you think of the terminology Slim Pickens, it's like something being rare, something being hard to find. And oh man, I had to have that, man. That there are not many out there. It's Slim Pickens.
That's super dope, man. Yeah, that's really creative. A lot of people don't realize like some of the names that we come up with, like like my channel is called Resurrection, and then with Neil, he's Mighty Mouse fan. Speaking of Neil, he is a Jersey head that a lot of people know about. Shout outs to Mighty Fan, by the way, on hitting that 1K on his YouTube channel. But part of the reason or part of the ways that I knew more about you was I would see you pop up every now and then on his videos. Like I've never met you in person. How did that relationship with you and Neil come about?
Well, ironically, it was all pretty much through Facebook. Because he was part of that. Because he was part of the YouTube community well before I was, and and I guess it's kind of all like it all stems back to it's almost like when in the music industry they look at Dr. Dre and they see all these branches that all come from Dre and Easy from that NWA tree, and it's just crazy. So it's like Throwback King was kind of like the Easy and the Dre, and everybody kind of like branched off of him. And I'm one of those, I guess, branches. Mighty and I actually drove up to Connecticut in 2019 and went to the Naismith Hall of Fame and saw had a really good time. Played some Tecmo Bowl. Mighty had never played Tecmo Bowl, so I busted his ass.
He never played Tecmo Bowl. What the hell?
I was like, "What rock have you lived?" And it was funny. Like Snacks ended up taking a picture of us playing, and I didn't know that he did that. And ended up uploading it later on, which is cool. I had over 100 yards receiving with Barry Sanders. That's how bad Neil was on Tecmo Bowl. Like I can see it. Like like the other day where we're having some Popeyes. And we were outside eating. His neighbors went to walk by, and he starts spouting off something about the Phillies and stuff like that. Oh, the Phillies this and the Phillies that. And I said, who's that? And I said, he was like, oh, I don't even know his name. I just stay to myself. Like you could tell that he just, he's kind of like, he just stays to himself. And so I guess I'm probably like one of the few that, or maybe I kind of started something by opening up that friendship with him and have it being more than just jerseys. And don't get me wrong, a lot of it's jerseys. A lot of our interactions are jerseys. But, if I'm sick, like, dude, when I had COVID, oh, it was horrible. He was constantly in my ear, hey, how you feeling today? What's going on? Like I went to the Mitchell & Ness store sick, didn't know how sick I was, didn't buy nothing, and just basically spent less than a day in Philly and drove back home. And before I knew it, I was in the hospital. So, so he was one of the few that constantly reached out and was like, hey, how you feeling today? What's going on? So it's that's a good feeling. And
I'm glad you're doing better though, bro.
Yeah, it took a little while. Like, it was about a month probably total of full recovery. Started, I remember I was at work one night and I was doing food delivery and had nothing going on at the moment. And I reached out to him and gave him a call, and it just kind of just started there. And that was 2013, 2014, somewhere in that ballpark. Like, it was literally just through Messenger every once in a while. And then just randomly, one day I picked up the phone and it just kind of went there. And now we talk constantly. He'll pick up the phone, call me. I'll pick up the phone, call him. Most people I just kind of have like a Messenger kind of text message relationship with, but he's one of the few that I'll actually pick up the phone and call him and talk football if something just happened, or, if something just happened in sports, it might, hey, you picked up anything lately? You eyeball anything? And we butted heads a few times because we've gone after the same thing. He's put on a few pounds, and with me getting down near a 52, and I've been picking up 52s. Now when we see the same thing, and if it's something, if it's something, we neither one of us have it yet. We'll butt heads a little bit over that, over who saw it first. Keith Hernandez, he just showed, we were butting heads over that, but he ended up getting it.
By the way, guys, there is an inside joke that we kind of have amongst ourselves, and it's regarding a jersey called the Billy White Shoes Oilers. If you're watching this, I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to open up some old wounds. That was a perfect example of something of who bought this, who got it. We don't know still to this day who bought it. I was saying it was you, but it doesn't look like you bought it.
That seems to be. Yeah, I even Snacks in one of his videos. We know who got it. we all know who got it. Like, dude, it listed. Mighty sat right there in front of me, went upstairs and came back downstairs, and so he was out of my range for. I think he went upstairs to go get a drink or something like that, and came back down, and it was still there, and then ironically disappeared when he was sitting next to me. So. So as much as it sucked that neither one of us got it, because a lot of times when we see something and if he can't move on it, I'll look at him and be like, dude, there's no point in both of us missing out on it, even though you saw it first. The running joke was like, I tried to, I had two Earl Campbells, and I was trying to hold the camera up a certain way, to make it look like the front of it was Billy White Shoes, when
that was
because I got two Campbells and I wanted to convert one of them to an 84. Put the Oilers patch on it, which I have the patch. I just haven't done it yet. Big pickup tonight. you know, whatever it was that I posted that day. You know, it's not black shoes, it's not blue shoes. I wonder who it could be. You know, I
Yeah,
just
nah.
like I messed with you with Rick Barry.
Oh, I know. Hey,
I just tripped over that. I just tripped over that picture the other day of all of like me and John and all of us all holding up, and Eddie all holding up that picture of ours.
it's all love, man. I get it. You know, that's kind of the joy of collecting because I mean, if you had everything, what fun is that? You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of a way to drive us as collectors. You know, I know a lot of people outside of this realm kind of look at like collectors, us as collectors, like what? You know, but it's hard to explain. You know, you got to be a collector to really understand the struggles, the ups and downs that we go through. But I want to backtrack a little bit. Facebook has a feature where you could create a group and you could kind of converse with other people. So you have a group yourself called Jersey Kicks and Lids, and it is a dope group. I am a part of it, and it's a really dope group to talk about like kicks, hats, lids, jerseys, pretty much a lot of the stuff that we dabble ourselves with. But like for people who don't know what it's about, like just explain, like what the group entails and what to expect on there.
Basically, it's just it's in all caps, jerseys, kicks, and lids. Again, it was just it was something different. It came about from it came just from my passion, of collecting shoes, collecting jackets. You can show jackets as well. I actually hashtagged one time jerseys, jackets, kicks, and lids because I was able to do the shrug jersey, which actually had the jacket, the jacket, the what was it, the Raptor 7s or the Raptor 6s.
Love those.
Yeah, I picked those up in 2003 from just random pay. They were only about $124. I picked them up.
Those are way overdue, man.
And I still have them. It's actually it's one of those black boxes right there. Came from just my passion. Shout out to everybody on Kings of Throwbacks as well. There was a just complete misunderstanding between myself and Throwback King, and I kind of sat around for a little while because I didn't have a group to post anymore, and I had fun posting on Kings of Throwbacks, and so I just decided to, I didn't know if we would ever fix our misunderstanding, which we did. It took a while to get to 1,000, but I finally got to 1,000. I don't try to promote or really do anything. I definitely appreciate all the contributions that you make.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like when you got your new YouTube vids up, it alerts me and lets me know that, most of the time I see them before you even post them in the groups anyways, because I'm I'm sub to you on YouTube. And I'm just kind of passionate about the guys that I follow, like, Nostalgia Boy, yep. Nostalgia Boy, Throwback King, you, and Mac, shout out to Rivalry Sportswear, and then Mighty. But yeah, so Jerseys, Kicks, and Lids basically just came from the story of my group forming, and itself was just I don't want it to be like one of those platforms where you can come in here and kind of talk trash about everybody's teams. You're passionate about jerseys, jackets, kicks, lids, stuff like that. Patches, just anything, that's kind of like Jersey sports related. Bring it. I'd like and love everything, man, because I appreciate everybody contributes to my little group.
Yo, that's real, man. And I for one am a proud member to be a part of that group, and that thing that you cemented right there on Facebook. Speaking of jerseys, we haven't really talked about this yet. From you and Neil, you guys have the biggest arsenal of jerseys, man, to choose from. I've seen your pictures, I've seen your videos. I think you did a video a couple years ago of like just kind of giving a tour of what you had.
Yeah, my old part, the attic's attic. Like I lived there for 1 year. I'm kind of in like a little townhouse spot now, but I was actually in an apartment, a third floor apartment that had a third floor loft. Kind of sucks that I only did one picture from the loft, but you remember those pictures of all my all-star jerseys together?
Yeah.
I laid them on the floor and walked up to the loft and took the picture from the loft because I had to. I needed all that room to take that picture.
Wow. Well, what's the number count? Do you have a number of how many you have in your collection?
Well, when I did the count that day, I was pushing 1,100, so I got to be probably at about. Basically what I did is I just went across all my XRacks. It's funny you were talking about XRacks.
Yeah.
And in one of your previous videos, I actually got to order a couple more. They're on eBay, for about I didn't get them for like $70 ship. Started with the flimsy ones that couldn't hold 100 pounds maybe. And but these XRacks, I gave them the test. I'm about 400 pounds, supposed to be a 400-pound limit.
Yeah.
And so after I put them together, I kind of dangled my body. I kind of held it, you know,
Man.
and they barely budged. So I got about 130 or 140 or so, or whatever it was, like football or baseball, on one of the XRacks. I got 3 rooms in my house that are devoted to each sport. Hockey, you can put in the closet. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so probably dabbling between 13 and 1400 right now.
Wow. That's amazing.
With speaking of Throwback King, I made a deal with him. His box might actually be sitting outside my door right now.
Oh, shit. That's what's up, man. So like I know out of the 13, 1400 that you said you have, do you have like one? I know this is almost impossible to answer.
Dude, when you have that many,
Yeah, where
I
to
mean,
start?
and like I said, Mike is my guy, and I got 40 mics. Um, I'm an Eagles fan, so I got a ton of Eagles stuff, and like it got to the point to where I reached out to the custom route, like Randall Cunningham being my guy, like I had to have all of his teams. Like
Mm,
shout out to Big Time Jerseys and Patsy Elmer. She
yeah.
took a helmet tag Jamal Lewis and made a Randall Cunningham for me, which is authentic to his last season in the NFL. Like just basically just telling you like how crazy it's gotten. Like, I have his Cowboys, I have his home and away Vikings. Like those are some of my favorites, like Ricky Williams home and away helmet tags, Ricky Williams home and away rookies. And shout out to Robbery Sports. I don't know if you can see it. You see the Reggie Jordan. Dude, I knew I was going to
Oh,
take some flack for that. Like, who the hell is Reggie Jordan?
that is a one of
Uh,
one for sure.
oh, absolutely. I got a Ray Lewis rookie coming. A a Suge Knight 1987 when he was a scab player for the Rams. I got
Oh,
that coming.
wow.
Um, yeah, I mean the jersey was already done, and shout out to Peter Tom Willis. He had the jersey with a player name already on it, and then Mac did the nameplate for me. So I mean, I guess I can go all the way back to the feeling of going to the Mitchell and Ness store. I don't know if I would say it's my favorite, but it became my first favorite because at the time in 2003, I still didn't understand where a lot of fakes. I was still trying to figure out what was real, what wasn't. So shout out to Peter, who's actually in our groups, former CEO and owner of Mitchell and Ness.
Yep.
It's kind of cool to actually, have Pete pick. He just picks the phone up, calls.
It's
Hey Mark,
nuts.
hey Mark, how's it going? Like I'm like,
Crazy.
hey Pete, what's up? It's so
Right.
weird to actually just talk to him on a personal level, and he's got stories for days. But going to his store, probably one of the first times I remember the 3 jerseys I bought, and going in there, and this is back when Mitchell and Ness, the store was you didn't have to ask for a size. Like if they had it, it was on the rack hanging there, and you just basically you just span through and look for your size. And Randall was 250, and that's what I paid. The irony of that though is I no longer have that jersey because 2008. I remember I took my jerseys to show my boss. He was a Bucks fan, so I took Steve Young, and I had a Warren Sapp Super Bowl 37, and and I took Randall and Lawrence Taylor, and I took some of my cool jerseys with me, and I had them in the backseat of my trucks. And ironically, while I was in there, I got broken into.
Damn.
I told the cops, I said, well, if you find them, call them the Smell Good Bandits.
Oh man. Yeah, that sucks, man. I mean, see that this is the kind of stuff that we as collectors have to go through. We always fear of like somebody breaking in, stealing stuff, ruining things. There's just so many different alternatives to, dealing with these types of problems. One thing I do want to mention though, like that I want to talk about is our loved ones. Obviously, we have friends and family who are outside
Oh,
of this realm of collecting. They
yeah.
look at us like we're nuts. At least for me, everybody that I've interviewed so far, and I'm sure for you as well, they all look at us some type of way, like we're nuts. But shout outs to Neil because he was telling me in the last segment, that I had with him is that this is how we're wired. Can't change this, you know what I mean? And me growing up, personally, I've always had this niche for collecting things, whether it's jerseys, toys, whatever.
Yeah.
I always loved to see, an assortment of things.
I actually had a chance to reconnect with my first love in 2013. We were going to get back together, and everything was going good until my collection came up.
Mm.
Now in 2013, it was I mean it's off the charts now, but it was out of hand then. As soon as we got to talking about how many I had in my collection or whatever, she's like, look, that's not collecting, that's a problem. And instead of obviously you see the choice I made. So she's moved on and she's actually married now, and I'm happy for her. My most recent real relationship was 4 years ago. The girl that I was seeing when my mom passed away, she was like, "Oh, I don't want you to. Why don't you just sell the ones that you don't want?" And I just immediately felt like she was trying to change me. And well, I don't want to sell any of them. I bought them all for a reason. And so as soon as I started putting up that resistance, she was already kind of plotting her exit. So kind of is what it is. My family, my dad knows how many that I have, and he's just kind of like, oh shit. Case in point, dude. Think about it. If I was just to sell my other friend who isn't a jersey head, has a couple of jerseys in his collection, but was never a jersey head. Actually, the reason I'm an Eagles fan, we've been friends for over 30 years. He's just basically like, whenever it comes up, he'll just be like, how many shirts are you up to now? Shirts.
Oh man.
That's all he says. When I went to Neil's a couple years ago and we ran the stairs at the museum, the Rocky stairs,
Yeah.
and we visited the museum. I actually unveiled a couple I unveiled a couple jerseys in front of the Rocky statue, which was cool. I got a message from him the next morning. He goes, "Hey, what's the idea of going to the Rocky steps in the shirt store without?" He pokes fun at it.
Yeah.
But it's just the last time we had a conversation, you go, dude, you realize that you could probably buy my house for what you've got invested in shirts, is what he always says. Not everything I've got would sell for $100, but I remember just thinking like, man, if I just got $100 for each jersey, it's $130,000.
Damn. Yeah. That's a lot of money, man.
Mm.
But you know what though? The way I see it, man, this is it's a passion, man. You know what I mean?
It's beyond, yeah.
This is something else that you just can't, not everybody's wired to do. Obviously with my collection, I'm nowhere near what you have or Neil or other jersey heads, but it's kind of like what you were saying, like every item that I have has a story. It's how we're wired, but it's also something that we're very passionate about doing. I mean, obviously nobody's paying us to do this stuff. We're spending our
Mm.
hard-earned money, buying
Yeah.
things, trading things, looking, spending our time going on social media, eBay, wherever, so that's just kind of where we're at with everything. And it also kind of, I guess, for me, I think I really enjoy the most is the interaction that I have with fellow collectors such as yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
Roberto, Snacks, Neil, all you guys, because I have a lot of friends who don't collect like me. I don't even think I have any friends like, and when I mean friends, I'm talking about people I see regularly, people that I actually grew up with, like when I was a little kid, to up till this point, and they don't collect like I do. And I'm not saying that I'm better than them or, anything like that, but it's just they don't understand. They don't understand
Yeah,
why I
most
collect.
most most of my friends don't get it. And the sad part
It,
about it is being passionate about it. You try to bring it up. I got a couple of friends that I can talk about it, but it's like because I'm passionate about it, and then they start to, I can tell we'll be having lunch or something, hanging out, and and I know to just kind of basically just not even bring it up because I'm passionate. It's something I'm passionate about, and they're not. There's no point in me even talking about it because like 10 minutes from now, I'll probably forget everything I just said. I just kind of just keep it within the groups, like that my friends they're not gonna get it, they're not gonna understand it, and keep it in my Jerseys Anonymous.
there are people out there because I thought I was alone. When I was collecting and when I
Me too.
started before I was
Before I
even on
met you
YouTube.
guys.
Yep, I was just like,
Me too.
man, something wrong with me. Like I couldn't figure it out, and then I go on social media, I go on YouTube, and I find out there's a circuit of you guys, and that collect on an even larger scale than myself. So it's good to know, man, that there's people out there that share that same passion with me.
The passion end of this kind of comes and goes, where like a month will come along and I'll be like, oh, I got to film, I want to film today, and then I'll get home and sit down and be like, nah. Constantly wanting to post, but the passion comes and goes, with life, of course. Don't let it, try not to let it affect your life. There was one story that I never got into, um, which was a low point of collecting. I remember I picked up a 1983. This was back in 2013. I picked up a 1983 Cal Ripken off of eBay. I paid $56 for it, and I was hungry. And after I paid that $56 for that jersey, I literally had no money for food. It controls me, but I let it control me. But I always try to make sure my bills are paid first. I got food in the house. I've got, I make sure everything's taken care of. But that was probably one of my low points. Paying $56 for a jersey and then literally having no money, and then to eat, laying there looking at the wall, depressed, not even wanting to stare at the TV. And a friend of mine who I was living with at the time knew what I had done, went to Popeyes. Popeyes had a deal at the time for like two pieces of chicken for like $1.29 or something. It was like Tuesday special. He brought me a soda and 2 pieces of chicken because he knew what I had done. Like that was like I felt so guilty eating that chicken. Like, you
Yeah.
know, and it all stems from jerseys. Like I'm single because it all stems from jerseys. You know, I've got my wifey, I got my Mustang, but I could have a nicer car, but it stems from jerseys. And it just every time I think to myself, like, man, I should just settle down a little bit, sell off some of them. It's not there. You know, my DVD collecting is bad. Like collecting is just bad. Like I got over 1,000 DVDs. Like I mean, the collecting, like you said, like you do toys and you know you've done the Rangers thing and shoes and you know it's just don't let collecting just you know don't let it bury you. It's gotten the better of me a few times, but you know it makes sure your bills are paid.
Sure.
And my same friend said just recently, he goes, dude, people don't have to understand it. He's like, it's something that you want. He goes, why? You're not doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for you. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that story out there. I just that you know the jersey collecting. I know quite a few people that's gotten their marriages in trouble
Oh
and
man.
and
Yeah.
they've lost property and they've lost stuff because they just can't stop. And ironically, some of those guys have actually disappeared out of the groups. Reached out to a couple of them. Hey, you okay? Hey, man, I came up on some trouble. My wife and my collecting, and it just became a problem. And I never wanted it to get to that, but you know, that was my low point. No food. A friend of mine bringing me a couple pieces of chicken just so I had something to eat that day. I've got some quality, but it's probably more quantity. Whereas, you know, I just buy just to buy, and it's a problem. It'll all hit a wall one day, I'm sure. You know, but in the meantime, you know, I just continue to have fun with it. I see something I want, I don't hesitate.
You know, collecting is not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And us as collectors, it's not easy. You know, people think, oh well, you know, you this person has this much. They have buttloads of money. That's not how it works. You know, we work for our stuff. I'm sure you do. You know, this is something that really requires a lot of thought processing behind it. You know, some people will just buy it, you know, just kind of run and gun. Oh, I'm going to buy this, swipe my card, swipe my card, swipe my card. And then there's people who realize the ups and downs of it. You know, I'm sure you, based on your story, it sounds like you've experienced, you know, the highs and lows of this collecting. So although it does look really prestigious from an outer aspect of things, it's not easy. I mean, it comes with the territory. You know, I myself, you know, I can't say that I've never experienced some sort of hardship of dealing with collecting, especially at an earlier age, where I didn't really know what I was spending my money on, like, or where this was coming from, where did this bill come from? Thankfully, I got myself out of it. But, you know, it's definitely something that you have to really consider having a balance, you know, have a roof over your head, you know, have your food on the table. You could continue doing it because I mean, I will say this, I'm gonna quote a good friend, J Dub, but he did say that this whole jersey collecting thing is not a race, it's a marathon. I think for you, you know, you kind of have an advantage over a lot of people because you know you're single. You know, I'm assuming you live by yourself, uh,
Yeah.
so you're not really, you know, it's not really a problem for a person. You know, say if you were married, had a wife, you know, like you mentioned stories, you know, about your friends, some of your friends who've had like issues with their significant other
Or
because
past relationships, like I said, that didn't work out because
when somebody comes to you and you know talks to you about like this collecting, do you look at it as them attacking you, or is it just something where you just feel like they're joking around? Like how do you interpret that when somebody comes to you and basically says, hey, like you have an insane amount of, you know, shirts or jerseys or whatever?
most of the reaction is just holy shit. You know, especially when they walk and look at it because they see these Z-Racks. All my Z-Racks are loaded with with barely any room to even kind of push. You know when you're going through the racks and you're looking and you know and it's like most of the time when I'm looking for a certain jersey, it's just like you know I can only tell by what it is because of the sleeve. When they see the you know what I've just accumulated, you know, and not to mention, like I said, I got to buy more racks because these pickups over here aren't going to fit on any of my racks. I did have one friend who I'm still friends with today. He's a pothead, and we were working a long time ago, and I had just gotten some patchwork done to some of my Reebok jerseys. At the time I was buying Reebok jerseys for dirt cheap, and then like, oh, was that player there when they wore this patch and this patch and this patch? And I would go buy a patch, and I would put it on a jersey, and I had my tailor work done, and it was right next to my job. I come in, he's standing there, and and I'm looking at my jersey there, still in the plastic, you know, from picking it up. And I'm just like, man, that looks so good on that, yada yada yada. And he's like, dude, we both make the same amount of money here. You got jerseys, and he was like going on a rant. But I'm like, I'm trying to figure out where he was heading with the rant. He goes, dude, you got all these jerseys that you spend your money on. I spend my money on weed. You know, I smoke my weed and I ain't got no money left. And I'm like, and you still got your jerseys. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why are you yelling at me about that? And to this day, that was like 13. That was like 12, 13 years ago, maybe. To this day, he still lives with mom. I still got 1,300 jerseys or whatever my count is, and I live on my own with 2 cars. And
Still going strong.
another good thing I wanted to say is about this is I've never owned a credit card, and all my jerseys were purchased with cash. Dude, I didn't want anybody to think that like that. Oh my God, he's got to be crazy in debt. When I have zero debt, I have no debt at all.
What's next for your collecting and like YouTube? That's a very open-ended question.
I think I'm already there, you know, with the custom route. And when I'm not finding anything online that I want to purchase, where it's gotten a little scary because, you know, because I am in a smaller jersey now, whereas I used to look for bigger stuff and get better prices because it was bigger stuff. And now you got to kind of compete with the community to get us something smaller. You might be bidding against somebody on eBay like that. I mean, I'm still just doing the same old thing, just, you know, that I was doing probably 10 years ago, just continuing to look on, you know, the outlets like, you know, Macari and eBay and Poshmark and hell, I just got a Kobe that's going to be in my upcoming video. I just got that off Facebook Marketplace, first marketplace pickup I got. Rivalry Sportswear. He's making it real tough to on collectors, and he's making a certain player or not, well, a certain team or a certain era of a certain team. You know, I just don't say no. It's horrible. You know, so
it's tough. Yeah, he just real quick, guys. I mean, Rivalry Sportswear, man. He needs to have a slogan, like something like anything's possible or whatever, you know, because I find myself getting stuff that I wouldn't even think that would be in existence, you know.
The Reggie Jordan, for example, shout out to Mac, he made that. You know, long story short about how I even decided to make that is
this is great.
Sports Center with Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann back in the day. When Michael left to go play baseball, they were poking fun at this guy because he was wearing 23 with the Lakers, and his last name is Jordan. And so Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick would kind of poke fun at this guy for wearing 23 as a with Jordan number 23, and they'd be like, Jordan 23 for 3, and no, not that Jordan. So I always remembered that, and for whatever reason, I was like, you know what? I was like, if I ever get a chance to make that jersey or come across a chance to, obviously I'm not going to find a real authentic. If I ever have a chance to have one of those oddballs in my collection, I'm going to do it. And as soon as Max said he was doing the Lakers, I was like, yep.
It's funny because people are probably going to think that's a LeBron from the front, and then they're going to look in the back, they're going to be like, Jordan, what the hell?
I looked yesterday, as a matter of fact, to see if there was any Reggie Jordan highlights on YouTube. There was one. Kobe crossing him up and hitting a fadeaway on him.
Oh, my God. So one thing I do want to give you a quick shout out on, I meant to say this earlier, but, you know, I'm a big San Jose Sharks fan.
Oh yeah,
I gotta pay tribute to you on that, man. Give you props because you did a picture. You asked me for a side by side, or you asked me for pictures of me and my recent pickup, my Patrick Marleau, the 30th anniversary Sharks jersey.
30 patch.
Everybody's saying the 30 patch. You did a side by side photo of me and you. Basically, I took some photos. I sent them to you, and you did. You were wearing your Red Wings Gordie Howe. So, rest in peace to Gordie Howe, by the way. You know, but the way I see it, all records are meant to be broken at some point in time. Patrick Marleau surpassed Gordie Howe's record. So
1997. I did not realize how long Marleau had been around.
Dude, he's been around forever.
The 97 draft.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's nuts, man.
I wasn't even a jersey head, and I was engaged to be married at that point.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Patty's been around for a long time, man. Like I could remember him for as long as I could remember. I always heard that name getting thrown around. I didn't start following the Sharks though, probably until like the departure of like Owen Nolan and stuff like that. And you know, 2007, 2008ish is when I, you know, established myself as a Sharks fan. And Marleau was still with us at that time. So, you know, just to see him go back then up until this point right now is nuts, man. That was a dope picture. You know, it's definitely something I'll keep in my my little photo photo
I
album.
had to film, like I filmed briefly. It's actually your Marlowe pickup vid in the
Oh,
background.
is it? I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
I knew I had Gordy in the collection, and I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever even worn him. And
Wow.
so as soon as you said that Pat had actually passed Gordy, I was like, you know what? I was like, it's. I don't think something like that's ever really been done. Two Jersey heads, like just that have never met, just doing a collaboration picture. I was like, I'm gonna get Rez to send me a couple shots, and then I'll break out Gordy and see how they turn out.
Dude, I love talking to you, man, but we are running short on time here. Don't have much time left on my little ticker thing here, but
That's my fault.
no, you're good, man. We're just having a good conversation. But before I let you go, though, man, like, where can we find you? Because I know you have your YouTube and other social media platforms.
Basically, I mean, I did. It's funny because Mitchell and S was actually the one pushing me to make an Instagram page, because they wanted that if I was going to share my collection on there, basically the words that they used were "put me on blast" and put my collection on blast so everybody could see my collection. I'm still kind of lost when it comes to Instagram. I've only posted 3 or 4 pictures there. That's sad. I don't even know if I've got 627 on it, but I think it's just Byg Slymm.
I'll link it below.
I'm on Facebook, Mark E. Danner. I said the middle initials there because of my dad. I'm the founder, whatever, admin of Jerseys, Kicks, and Lids. I'm also a member of Kings of Throwback, and of course here on YouTube at Byg Slymm 627.
Definitely follow him, guys. Check out his social media platforms. I'll link it below as well. If you guys want to check him out, outside of YouTube or Facebook and stuff like that, man. Do you have any final thoughts, man, before I let you go?
Dude, I appreciate you having me on. I just as soon as I found out that you were doing this, and I was going to be a member of the show with no name, so I got excited about it.
Our conversations is something that can't fit in just one episode, and I would definitely love to have you on the show again. The show with no name currently. God, somebody keeps texting me like crazy, but I'll definitely have another session with you at some point in time later down the road. But guys, if you do want to know more about the homie Slymm here, check him out in his handles below. I'll leave his links below for you to check him out. And then of course, if you guys want to talk to him and know more, about what he's about, feel free to send him a DM. He doesn't bite, you know what I'm saying? At least I don't think he does. But real good, man, to have you on the show. I do appreciate you. Salute to you wearing the Warriors gear, paying homage to my Dubs. And I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff from you in the future, man.
I appreciate it, man. Again, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.